All right, good afternoon, everyone. Kevin Crouch here with South Metro Weather. I love how I just put some twang on there. Afternoon. We have a strong storm. Let me kind of get my camera set here. A strong storm in northwest Ellis County right now, really all of western Ellis County from Midlothian on down towards Maypearl there. And this storm is not severe at this time, but you can see how much lightning is in this thing. And I'm getting plenty of thunder here at the studio here in northeastern Waxahachie. Looks like I could be getting some rain here. In fact, why don't I peek get the window open here. Yeah, I'm getting a decent bit of rain here at the studio. Have not completely gotten the whole power replacement situation figured out. I was hoping to get some extra time to do that today. Didn't work out that way, but you know, today fortunately shouldn't be a major situation like we had on October 4th. Knocking on wood for that. So what we have is this storm, and it's capable of some gusty winds. We're looking at probably a bit of a downburst coming out of the center of that storm near Midlothian, really southern Midlothian right now shifting over to eastern Midlothian. And on the southern side there, we're getting reports of some hail, pea-sized hail, and I understand that in the southern Midlothian area, the hail was small enough that it's kind of mixed in with the very heavy rain, that it hasn't been a major hail situation, but it is there. So I wanted to make sure to kind of update folks, because when you get a storm this loud and rowdy, even if it's not severe, you're wondering what in the blazes is going on out there. So this is what we're seeing. And you see some additional development off to the southwest on towards Rio Vista Blum and maybe towards Itasca. None of this is severe, of course, but we do have that marginal risk of severe weather. If you saw the video update I did a few minutes ago, then that kind of detailed that as well, that the severe weather risk, especially the tornado risk, was pushed south. So that's good news. That happened earlier this morning. And so we are looking at a marginal risk. So some gusty winds, some small hail. I think that's really going to be most of what we're going to see. But right now it's 12:41. So we're looking at a situation where it's not terribly severe. It's not, we're not looking at anything terribly crazy, but this is also early in this event. I think from now until about 4 o'clock is going to be our biggest window for these storms. I think by 5, 6 o'clock, most of it should be to our east. I know there's parades and different things going on tonight, and so I will be monitoring things there as well. But I think really, by the time we get to sundown, I think most of this should be out of our way. So I think if the parade is, I think most of the parades are probably starting around 6:30 or 7. I think that'll be a good time. If nothing else, setup for those might be a little bit wet, but I believe the event is in Ennis tonight. So for now, Ennis is clear, but that could change over the next few hours. Let's put this into motion and kind of zoom in on things first. I'll just show you where everything is moving here off to the northeast. So southern Dallas County will be getting this storm very soon, moving into the Ovilla, Oakleaf, Red Oak area now. And then, of course, moving into DeSoto, Lancaster there very soon. And out of the Maypearl area. The Maypearl area should at least calm down a little bit over the next few minutes. And then, yeah, really the eastern half of Midlothian getting a pretty heavy activity, a pretty heavy rain from this. And we do have this little pink here. So that's probably our hail core where the strongest winds are. In fact, let's take a look at the wind situation. First of all, we look at this, the hail threat here, not looking at severe or large hail, at least not at this point. Haven't seen any reports of that, but we are definitely looking at a situation where we could be looking at some gusty winds. Here you can see the red, and that's centered right around where the hail is. So what you're seeing is a downburst. That's that downward moving wind. This is not rotation, which is in the updraft of the storm. This is the downdraft, but this is also where you can have those winds that move down and spread out. So we might be looking at, let me move the chair around here. I'm trying to check a couple of things. We might be looking at those downburst winds that go down and moving out in all directions, and that can produce 50, 60 mile per hour winds. I don't think we're quite seeing that here, but if you're seeing some gusty winds in Midlothian, this is why, because the downdraft part of the storm is pushing some very heavy rain, gusty winds, and some small hail. A lot of energy getting pushed down out of that storm at this point. So let's get back to this reflectivity. that of course we're so used to seeing. And again, I have to kind of move this chair around. I don't think this is pushed down all the way. Get out of camera and actually fix my studio up the way it's supposed to be fixed here. This storm ramped up very quickly, and I was trying to kind of get a look at the rest of the day, but this one wanted to grab our attention, and so here we have it. We zoom out and look at the rest of our area here, and this is really it right now. There are some storms from close to really Rockwall and on to the east, but really as far as our area is concerned, this is our one storm for now. It will be continuing to move off to the northeast, and I will continue to watch some of this activity further to the southwest to see if we're going to get additional development. The way the trends have been going, I think we could very well see maybe 2 or 3 more of these storms. I don't expect to see a lot though. And one of the questions that Matt actually had was, are we going to start to see some of this train over the same areas? We haven't really been looking at too much of a a flood threat out of this. So I don't think we're going to be looking at these storms that are training over the same places and same areas over and over again. That's the good news. I don't think we're going to be looking at that. But I will say that the new drought map came out this morning, and we're not in drought conditions, but the abnormally dry conditions have kind of expanded a little bit. So this rain will do us at least some favors across our area. So just, there is that benefit there. And there have been reports of power flickering. I haven't heard reports of power outages in Midlothian yet, but there have been some kind of off and on flickers there in the Midlothian area, and it's not surprising with a storm that ramped up that quickly, very heavy rain, possibly some small hail, lightning, and thunder, that sort of thing. So it doesn't sound like it's a major power outage, but it could be enough to make the lights flicker on and off a little bit and make you wonder what's going on. So let me go into some of these comments. Multiple reports of small hail in the Midlothian area, so definitely seeing that. I'm getting some buzzes on the phone here, so okay, yeah, just checking some notifications I'm getting here, making sure I'm not missing anything important there, and I'm getting a knock at the door, and of course that's the dog that's very nervous. She'll be all right. So overall, not a severe storm at this time, but we could be looking at that being warned, I would say in the next 10 to 15 minutes. If it continues to intensify here, then we could be looking at a warning possibly for far northern Ellis County and then into southern Dallas County there as well, southern and really eastern Dallas County. We'll put this into motion again so you can see that it continues to move on to the northeast. And again, we haven't really seen any rotation with this. It did have a persistent hook-shaped echo, but there was no rotation with it. So that's the good news. The only winds that we've seen, again, are those possible downburst winds, downdraft winds there, where we could be looking at some of those gustier winds over in the Midlothian area. So this storm will produce frequent lightning. You can see it here. Let me kind of pause this for a second to give you a quick recap. Plenty of lightning in the storm, plenty of heavy rain, gusty winds, some small hail, no severe hail at this time, no severe wind, so it's not been severe warned. But this storm could continue to intensify as it continues on. Now, something I would like to show you very quickly, if I can get this off the screen, I do want to show you the severe risk that was updated earlier today for those who have not seen that yet. We are looking at quite a different situation than was talked about yesterday. So we have our area here, and yeah, this is only a slight risk. I have a feeling that some of the storm chasers that rushed to this area might be a little disappointed today. The Storm Prediction Center dropped the enhanced risk. Now we're just looking at a slight risk from Bay City to the Woodlands, over to Galveston, Houston, Beaumont, over into Louisiana towards Baton Rouge and Lafayette. So that is the situation there. The good news for us, again, is that moves the severe threat further away from us, definitely moves the tornado threat farther away. And I think we will all welcome that after we were taken quite by surprise on October 4th. Not really a welcome situation there for sure. Leah Jones, you're talking about an intermittent power outage southeast Midlothian. That sounds about right. Just power in and out is really what I'm hearing from most folks there. Now we are seeing more development again from western Ellis County, southeastern Johnson County, northern Hill County here. So this is where we could be looking at more development moving on to the northeast. And so we are fortunately looking at a situation where more of these storms, I think I mentioned this yesterday, the more these storms are kind of compacted, the harder it is for them really to become severe, at least in a supercell fashion. That's where you get the really large hail, the really strong downburst winds, and that tornado threat. The more these storms are packed together, the harder it is for any one of them to do that. And as I mentioned earlier, and I know that we have the question from Shaylin Picard there, the tornado threat is pretty low for our area, especially after we saw those updates this morning. Really the focus for the severe weather south of us is going to be a northward moving warm front that won't go very far north of the coast. So that's really where that tornado threat is limited at this time, just kind of towards that area. So very low tornado risk here. Of course, it's not zero, but it is fairly low for our area. And the good news is I can say that as we're looking at this situation, and it's not one of these things where, now that the storms are here, things are changing. We've seen really good trends away from that tornado risk as opposed to October 4th, where it was kind of questionable as we got closer to those storms developing. So we're in a good spot for a low, but not zero, but still very low tornado risk. And now that I'm done jinxing that, I'm gonna shut up and stop talking about it. And let me just do a few housekeeping items here that I have to do for every stream that we do. Of course, make sure that you share this stream, that you like the stream and comment and all that stuff, all the things that the algorithm gods love. Make sure to engage and do all of those things for this stream. And then if you are watching on Facebook, head over to YouTube and follow that stream as well, because when it comes to the video content, it's just better on YouTube. I don't know what it is. Their quality is just better. Facebook tends to compress, so it's all blurry and gross. The YouTube content is much more clear, much more crisp. And when you're looking at severe storms or strong storms like this one, that detail sometimes can matter where you're looking to see what is happening in your community. So go check out the YouTube stream, go subscribe to that. And then I think it's been posted already, of course, there's the Cash App and the Venmo and those kind of things. All of that support is always appreciated. It helps us to keep doing what we're doing. This is a full-time job for me. So this is my family's income. So those donations always help, especially with inflation the way it is. Those donations are buying groceries. So I appreciate all of the support that you folks give this brand. So this storm continues to spread into southern Dallas County there. I know we have lots of Ellis County folks who work in Dallas. So let's take a look at that too. A lot of Focus Daily News followers as well that might be watching this. So as this continues to move northward, this is moving into the Lancaster, DeSoto area up towards Wilmer. So just be prepared for that. This will continue on into southeastern Dallas County. I don't think it quite gets to downtown, but we will be seeing that move towards Fair Park, towards Mesquite and Bald Springs. So let's take a quick look. And we'll take a look at southwest Dallas County. Of course, again, Hutchins, Bald Springs there towards the Fair Park area, crossing the really some of the industrial district here. So just keep in mind, this will continue on. And if we're looking at any hail, it's probably in the DeSoto area right now, just about to cross I-35. And so that's where we're going to see this storm heading in the next several minutes. It's still not severe warned at this time, but we have seen small hail. We have seen evidence of strong winds. So let's take a quick look in southern Dallas County here. I know that this is kind of technically outside of our coverage area usually, but we do have southern Dallas County viewers, and really from different parts of Dallas County. And then again, a lot of you from Ellis County travel north for work. Not really seeing strong winds here. That's something that we lost that core of strong winds that we were watching. And then it looks like the hail threat could be diminishing somewhat as well. Ismail, you're asking any more storms later this afternoon, or is this the only push we'll see? I do expect to see more storms throughout the afternoon. I don't know that it's going to be severe weather necessarily, but I do think that we will see off and on storms. I think that's more likely. I don't think that we see a constant or persistent situation today where it's just storm after storm. I think that we may well see just a few of these pop up and blow through. East of us, they have a better chance of seeing more persistent storms. But at this moment, and we'll do another kind of really wide view here of north central Texas. And again, across the region, you can see that this is pretty much it. So storms stretch from southern Dallas, northern Ellis counties, off into really towards the Paris area there. So that continues on from from Rockwall on towards the northeast there. So this is our kind of our field here of storms. I expect more activity off to the northwest and off to the northeast, east of us, then especially south and east where that higher tornado risk is, and that's where all the storm chasers have crowded around. But the severe risk is relatively low for our area, and of course we have that's a long YouTube name. I'm going to say Peach. I know you're in the Kennedale area watching for storms there. And Brandy, thank you so much for the engagement there. That's always appreciated too. So no severe weather. That's the good thing. No severe warned, no watches. In fact, I think we don't even, I really don't even think we have severe watches in southern Texas at this point. I think we're completely really without anything there. And of course, we may be waiting for later on this afternoon for most of that activity. But yeah, when I look at, there are storms in southern Texas along the coast. Looks like right in the Galveston area, pretty good storm. But not really seeing any, I don't think we have any watches or warnings there. Definitely no watches or warnings here. So that's kind of what okay, so Peach, your name is Miranda. Got it. That's easier to remember there. But this storm, it's making some noise, and further into Midlothian, you have another round of some storms blowing in. So really more towards downtown Midlothian right now. So let's take a quicker look there. Parts of Midlothian, they got missed by the first storm, probably going to get a shot of heavy rain. I don't expect to see really much in terms of hail out of this. This is a pretty small cell, but it will bring some heavy rain into Midlothian, so just be prepared for a second round. And Donald Mosley, thank you so much for your very generous donation to the Venmo account. That is greatly appreciated there. Of course, again, this is a full-time gig, and all of the support is always appreciated there, to the Venmo and Cash App and all that good stuff that's been posted there. So more storms, more rain coming to northeastern Ellis County. We've been hearing about some intermittent power outages, but not any kind of persistent power outages here. So that is a blessing there. Let's see. Oh, my phone just flashed here. That was weird. And Deborah Folletta, thank you so much for your Venmo donation. That is greatly appreciated there. Just good soaking rain out of this for sure. And it does look like maybe that hail threat continues to diminish a little bit. Looks like one of these storms that swelled up and got really intense and then maybe swelling down a little bit. I think that's part of the reason we won't see severe weather, at least not much of it here in our area. I don't think there's quite enough instability to keep these storms really intensifying persistently, but I do expect that there's enough that we'll see just little pulses of intensity from these storms. The other thing is we're still relatively cool in our area. Temperatures, I mean, we're in the mid-50s right now. Here at the studio, looks like we're right around 60. That might be a little bit warm at Midlothian. Now let me refresh this and double check. Looks like Midway Airport, where, yeah, right around 60 degrees. I'm still thinking mid-50s, but that was earlier this morning. So right around 60 degrees, and that's relatively cool. If we were in the 70s, we could possibly have a very different situation. But that warm front down on the coast, that's where the intensity is going to be. That's where the increased heat and the instability and all those things are focused. So the fact that that's staying farther south of our area really makes it to where we don't have near as great of a severe weather risk. And so Laurie Mosley, thank you so much. So that donation came from you. Laurie is, I will tell you, a great asset to the city of Waxahachie and a good friend. She's a lot of the events and things that we enjoy in Waxahachie, she has a hand in. So thank you, Laurie, for not only your donation, but your support of this brand. It really does mean a lot. I feel like I'm dark here for something. My arm is dark. That's weird. It's like gray. I've got to work on the colors on this stream. So Tyler, pretty persistent thunder there in Duncanville. Most of the activity is going to be east of you. Looks like you could get clipped by this smaller cell here, but for the most part, I think Duncanville will miss out on most of this cell in this this particular area. So that's just something to bear in mind. That if you are in the Duncanville area, yeah, I think that most of that is going to miss you. Another reminder here too, you don't have to be in the storm to be hit by lightning. Lightning can strike 30 miles. I said that right, 30 miles outside of a storm. And so when you consider that, yeah, I mean, it's something to pay attention to for sure. So I'm reading that it's just power flickered in Oak Leaf. So again, pretty persistent rain. It's been a little while since it's rained. So these power lines and things might not quite be used to it, as we've been dry for a little while. The last big storms we had were right around almost a month ago now, it seems like. And so, yeah, Lancaster, Jessica, you said you're getting hit pretty hard. So yeah, we've got our southern Dallas our southern Dallas viewers that are tuning in. And again, make sure that you follow the stream, like the stream, share the stream, all that good stuff. Just, click all the buttons. Click all the buttons, maybe not like the hide button or anything like that, but click all the buttons that the almighty algorithm wants you to click. I'm not sure why Lancaster and DeSoto are so small here. It seems like the larger the city, the smaller the name is. I'm sure there's a joke in there somewhere about starting a small town weather page is you have Dallas and Duncanville and Lancaster and DeSoto small, while you've got Wilmer and Pleasant Run and Oak Leaf that are larger. But if we're going to be looking at a hail threat just north of, really on the north side of Lancaster. Of course, here is Lancaster Airport here and Wilmer, so pretty heavy rain up towards Hutchins and Riley, over towards the Mesquite area. So that's where we're seeing the peak of this here. Of course, heavier rain in the Red Oak, Oak Leaf, Ovilla area as well. And Miranda, you just said that the National Weather Service in Fort Worth just tweeted that severe hail is the main threat. And it's mainly from Fort Worth and the very tip of the northeast corner of Johnson County, and the east is at highest risk. So not really sure what the National Weather Service has said here. Okay, so this is a new map from the National Weather Service. I would say that's probably related to this storm specifically, and I'm not going to pull that up here, but they put out these maps, and it's a dashed line. And the messaging sometimes on these is a little bit lost because they can be specifically talking about one storm, but it makes it look like they're talking about an entire area. So, I mean, sometimes it can be a little bit unclear what they're referring to. Let me see if maybe I can pull that up to where you can actually see that. Let me see if I can grab that and put it up here, full screen or something. Let me see how I can do that easiest. Never easy. Computers never make it easy to work quickly. I was just telling Matt earlier that this computer does not like to keep up with me. It just doesn't. It's just not. It doesn't like to try to keep up with how quickly I work. Well, let me see if I can pull this up and just show what she's talking about, because I know that there's probably some of you folks in the stream that are not really sure what she's referring to. So this is what we're looking at. And this is from the National Weather Service. Let me pull this this graphic down here too, so you can kind of see what we're looking at. So this is from the National Weather Service. This is what they put out a few moments ago. Tornado threat has decreased, but hail potential across North Texas has increased. Again, I think they're really looking at the existing storm here. And then of course they're showing this map and they're saying that this is the area that has the highest risk of hail. To be honest, this is where that storm is headed. So I think this might be too broad an area to include parts of Johnson and Tarrant County there. But the way that the storms are moving, this existing storm that does have a hail threat with it will be pushing off to the northeast. So I think that's what they're referring to mostly. I don't think that this is any reason necessarily to be too terribly concerned. But we will continue to watch that storm and make sure that you are prepared in the case that we do have those higher possibilities of hail and severe weather that we need to pay attention to. Let me just check something really quickly. And let me just... I've got a friend of mine from Rail Yard Park that's poking at me, so got to poke a little fun back. And thank you. Is it? I'm going to butcher this name. Is it Stacia? Stacia Ellis. Love your last name. Thank you so much for the Venmo donation there. Really appreciate that. And I apologize if I just messed up your name. I'm terrible with. I'll look at a name and I'll look at the most obvious pronunciation, and that's almost never right. So again, deep apologies if I messed that up. But either way, your donation to the Venmo is greatly appreciated. So okay, so Stacy. Okay, so it's pronounced Stacy. So the A, I guess the A is silent. I'm not sure. But Stacy, thank you so much for your donation to the Venmo. That is greatly appreciated there. And you know what? I'll tell you what. I've got an extra screen here. Wish I didn't, but that's another story for a long time from now. I'm gonna pull up the Twitter feed here if I can. And that way I can kind of monitor chatter that way and go from there. Let me get back to the radar so that we can show you what is happening across our area. And we do have more development off to the north, off to the northeast. So Greenville here and up towards Commerce, up to Cooper, up towards Paris up there, more storms there. So that's part of that area that the National Weather Service was referring to. So could be more hail up that direction in our immediate area. We do have more storms in the Midlothian area towards Red Oak and Oak Leaf and Ovilla there. Not near as intense. And hello, Kate. You're taking a break from school and to watch. So make sure that your school's watching too. You want to make sure that, well, you're homeschooled there. So I know you're watching, but any of your friends and family, make sure they're watching. How about that? And I know that you got friends in the co-op and things, so make sure that they're watching as well. And get everybody tuned in on this thing, not only because, hey, it helps the stream, right? But make sure everybody's aware. Now, we do have more development off to the west, and I do want to talk about this. One little cell we're watching just south of Glenrose there, one just between Grafford and Graham. So we do have the potential for more development off to the southwest. There isn't really much in that area. If we look down towards Meridian here, Hamilton, Gatesville, not seeing much in this area yet towards Hillsborough and Waco, but we could see more. Between now and about 4 or 5 o'clock, I think is our best chance to see more storms. And as I mentioned, I think it's going to be, we're going to see maybe 1 or 2 storms here and there. Nathan Seward, the National Weather Service put out a bulletin saying that there's an increasing risk of hail. I think they're specifically talking about this storm and possibly the one south of Greenville. I don't think they're talking about overall. I think they're talking about within the next hour or so with the existing storms. I don't think that we're looking at a situation where the situation overall has changed to an increased hail risk. we've had a risk of large hail and damaging winds with that marginal risk overall that we've been looking at for the last couple of days. So I don't, and that's why the messaging sometimes gets a little muddy, because I don't think that we're looking at a situation that by itself has changed in any major way. I think we're really looking at kind of an immediate perspective. There's sneezing? Was that the dog? Bless you, I guess. That was a very human sneeze from a dog. That was really weird. But unless was that Matt in my ear or something? That'd be hilarious. But we're not looking at a situation where somehow the situation overall is changing. We're just looking at a situation where in the next few minutes, due to the existing storms, we are looking at a higher hail risk for the next few minutes. So that's kind of what the National Weather Service is trying to say in a very brief and simplistic way. Ennis is supposed to have the Parade of Lights tonight, and we have mentioned that. Right now, Ennis is dry, and there are chances that we could see more storms in the Ennis area over time. But the good news is, and let's see, that was Alicia. Alicia, if you know what time, or if anybody knows, what time is that Ennis Parade of Lights supposed to start? That will kind of inform my forecast there. And Kimberly, you're asking what the weekend weather looks like around Waxahachie. Right now, Saturday, we could see a stray shower or two. It's really not looking like any kind of washout situation. Definitely not what we've got right now. Saturday, it looks like we're just looking at a few showers here and there, maybe a few light showers. And then we could be looking at just a quick sprinkle. I think that's about all we're going to see. I've got a 20% chance out there right now. That might be generous, to be honest. But temperatures, let me just double check to make sure nothing's changed. Yeah, temperatures look to be in the mid 60s. So, and honestly, I think the National Weather Service has pulled the rain chance from their forecast. I'm going to double check to make sure before we do that. But yeah, Saturday looks warm. We could actually get closer to 70 on Saturday, depending on how much cloud cover we have. And then Sunday looks sunny with highs in the mid 60s. So the weekend looks pretty nice out there, but there could be a quick drop of rain over on Saturday there. So 5 to 9. Okay, so 5 to 9 is the event overall, and then the page says parade at 7. So I think 4 or 5 o'clock, we're seeing most of this moving off to the east, and I think by 7 o'clock, we should definitely be done. So I would say the first maybe hour or two of that, we could have some storms in the area, but I think by the time the parade is actually starting, yeah, I think most of this, if not all of it, is pretty far to our east. So I think that we will be in good shape there. And it's 112 right now, and this storm is moving out, and I'm really hoping we get a break here because I'm going to go pick up the kiddos from school here in a little bit. The good news is if this continues to move out and we can get a bit of a break, maybe, just maybe, we can hold this off long enough to get a relatively dry pickup from school. Again, I'm going to knock on wood here and hope that that stays the case. But that's just what we're looking at the moment. We've got light rain here. Let me kind of get zoomed back into our area and talk about home a little bit. We do have light rain that's persisting and some spots of heavier rain from Midlothian to Oakleaf and Red Oak over towards Ferris there. Lighter rain down in Waxahachie, getting a persistent but light rain here in Waxahachie. And then, as we mentioned, moving into southwestern Johnson County, just a quick little shower there. Not really much going on there. So I'd be pleased that this is all that we saw, but we could easily see more between now and about 4 and 5 o'clock. So that threat has moved out of our area. I'm going to continue to monitor this over the next several minutes, the next few hours here, as we continue to watch the possibility of 1 or 2 stronger storms in our area. Again, we have this storm. I think this cluster is going to continue to move off to the northeast. Lighter rain across parts of Ellis County, just spotty stuff across the rest of the area. And nothing intense for now, but continue to follow the page and follow for updates as we go through